Hey, how you doing? Thanks for downloading the show. Welcome to Garden Fork Radio. It's the walk and talk version of the eclectic DIY show. I just realized the other day there are over 500 episodes of Garden Fork Radio. You can listen to the most recent 100 of them on the Apple Podcast Player. I know I can link to where you can listen to a bunch of the other ones. It's on our server, our podcast server called Libsyn. It's probably gardenforkradio.libsyn.com, I think. Anyway, hey, how are you? I want to talk to you about a couple things. First of all, I'm reading a book. It's called Your Head is a Houseboat. And I guess it falls into the self-help, self-improvement category. There's a guy named Campbell, or Cam, who has a interesting YouTube channel and speaks from experience, but also has a lot of research about why your brain does the screwy things it does. And it's really helped me a lot lately. I literally just watched a video of his from 2 years ago, and I'm reading the book, and I'm like, there's another guy talking into his phone as well here. There he goes. So, Your Head is a Houseboat. I will link to it in the show here. You could also just buy it from your local bookstore. And his YouTube channel is called Struthless, which is kind of where it's S and then Truthless. Waving to my neighbor. I'm going over to the cafe here. So, just kind of eye-opening, and also makes you realize that you're not alone in why is your brain doing what it's doing. There's a bunch of characters in there in your brain. So, and the video was talking about personification. If you take this kind of abstract idea of these different feelings that are generated in your brain, for lack of a better word, and give them names, which is what he did in the book. And now I'm just reading that part now, and I'm like, why is he doing this with these names and things? And then he basically, I think he got the idea from this video, which he made 2 years ago, so I think that's before the book came out. Anyway, it's called Your Head is a Houseboat. I think it's a very fresh look at mental health and why you feel the way you do. I'm halfway through it, and it also talks about journaling, which I, of course, just dismissed out of hand when people are like, oh, you should be journaling. And I'm like, what's that all about, you know? But he kind of put it in a way that was like, oh, now I want to do journaling. So, of course, you know what I want to do is I want to buy a keypad for my iPad so I can do my journaling before I go to sleep, because I guess that's when you're supposed to journal, or in the morning when you wake up. But, of course, I've made it complicated. Oh, I could get a new iPad. Like, I already own 2 of them, you know. They're 5 or 10 years old, but they work, you know. Anyway, Your Head is a Houseboat. Go check that out. The other thing I just wanted to touch on is, no, it's not about the Amazon link. Have you thought about donating blood? I have a friend of mine who is having some health problems. He's older and he's bleeding internally. And I told him, I said, I'll give you my blood. And he kind of gave me this weird look. Well, it looks like I don't want your blood coursing through my veins. But that's the kind of friendship we have, so, which I'm fine with. But it did occur to me, he's already had 2 pints of blood. And they are doing endoscopy and not a laparoscopy. What's the other one where they go up through your large intestine? I'm blanking on it now. But anyway, they're looking for where is he bleeding, because He's just getting weaker and weaker. So maybe you could help him. Maybe you could help my friend, or maybe you could help one of your neighbors. It's not hard to do. I mean, it's much like anything. The first step is the hardest. So redcrossblood.org. Hydrate. Drink extra water 3 days prior. Don't drink caffeine the day you're going to donate. Okay? So there you go. Let me think here. I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but I messed up my elbow splitting wood. I split wood for a friend of mine who heats his house with wood, and he's physically not really able to do that. And, there's just a ton of trees that have just fall naturally. In our town, they've been cutting back a lot of the trees along the roads so they don't land on the utility lines. And they will save you the wood. They will drop it off in your driveway because they don't want to haul it, to the dump or something. And I got a ton of hard maple in my driveway, and so I was splitting it up. And I did something to my elbow, and I think it's what's called a soft tissue injury, which takes a long time to heal. My one friend says, "Oh, you have tendonitis," which I think is... I have to ask Dr. Julia about this. But is that arthritis related, maybe? Anyway, heating pad, taking some Advil. But when you can't bend your right elbow, well, you can, but I can't carry shopping bags with that side. But the bigger bummer is I had to cancel my maple syrup season because 5-gallon buckets of sap are pretty heavy. And just wrangling the evaporator and wood. And I do most of it myself. So I'm bummed because I was excited about firing up the evaporator. Also, the sap season is at least 2 weeks early this year. It's coming earlier and earlier every year. And my buddy Bill, who was in my first maple syrup video, is tapping and boiling, and since the beginning of February, and we usually tap like February 15th. So yeah, the climate is changing. So there you go. I'm going over to Cafe Libra. Since I work from home, I just sometimes need to get out of the house, and it just kind of changes your atmosphere, environment. I like to engage with people, and in my apartment, well, not everyone's just walking in the door. I am taking a class to improve my YouTube thumbnails. It's an online class. It's a YouTube channel called Film Booth. If you have a YouTube channel and you're interested, it's all about the thumbnail these days. So there you go. Do you know anything about the Chat GPT AI thing? I would like to do a podcast about that. I mean, I can talk about it topically, but are any of you like a researcher or a journalist or computer science expert, or you just know a lot about it because you know a lot about it? Let me know. It's radio@gardenfork.tv. And we could talk. That would be interesting. All right, I'm about to get my decaf Americano here, so go out and do cool stuff and make it a great day. I'll see you. Garden Fork Radio is produced by Garden Fork Media, LLC in Brooklyn, New York. Our producer is Sean O'Neill. If you need an amazing podcast producer, visit Sean's site, SeanInBrooklyn.com. That's Sean, SEAN, in Brooklyn.com. Our executive producer is Jimmy Goose. For more information about Jimmy and the custom hollow books he makes, visit hollowbooks.com. The music in the show is licensed from audioblocks.com and uniquetracks.com.